That's right. We need to find out who's telling the truth. Hey, everybody. It's Uncle Rich, the Truth Doctor. And guys, today's show is 266. Nice job, Kurt. And the name of the show is I Have a Plan. And guys, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about some of the things that Elizabeth Warren has come up with. And I got to tell you, when she starts talking about a financial plan and a win-win situation and how, she's going to have an ultra millionaires tax, because the one thing we always talk about is how are you going to pay for this? And guys, tonight we're going to show you how not only can student debt be erased, but child care, infrastructure, a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about global warming, but it's primarily going to be about Elizabeth Warren. So guys, we're going to have fun, but of course, we got to start the show with some truth telling. And unfortunately, our dear leader doesn't tell us the truth too often. So we're going to start the show with, I'm sure everybody's seen George Stephanopoulos' interview with Trump. But guys, what was most important to me is this short little teaser clip that I'm going to play for you. So Kurt, number 00, please.
Frankly, I'd like to have people see my financial statement because it's phenomenal. No, it's not up to me.
So you heard it, guys. Trump said he would love for people to see his financial statements, right? Well, what are his financial statements and what's the best way to show them? His taxes. Doesn't get any simpler. So you guys heard it here on Who's Telling the Truth. Trump came out and said that he wants everybody to see his financial statements. Now, guys, like I said, his financial statements are taxes. But sometimes there's better ways to mention a word. And we're going to get to that in 1 minute. But first, we're going to play you why isn't Trump just showing his taxes? So Kurt, let's have clip number 01, please.
Frankly, I'd like to have people see my financial statement because it's phenomenal. No, it's not up to me. It's up to lawyers. It's up to everything else. But they're asking for things that they should never be asking for.
It's not up to me, Mr. President. It's exactly up to you. And either you got the Galaducci's to put the taxes on the table, or maybe instead of calling them taxes, maybe we should call them contributing or pitching in. And guys, Elizabeth Warren came up with this idea of pitching in. And I want to tell you, this is what's going to sell people. Because when you take away the word tax and you say to somebody, patriotically, you want to chip in, don't you? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? And when you see the type of people that she wants to have pitch in, you're going to say, wait a minute. Wouldn't they be foolish not to? But anyway, we're going to keep having fun with her plan and facts with clip number 2. Hit it, Kurt.
So my plan here is to say, look, on the greatest fortunes in this country, those above $50 million, on the 50 millionth and first dollar, pitch in 2 cents.
So on the 50 millionth and first dollar, that's the only tax you're going to pay, and you're going to pay 2% on that. So guys, let's think about somebody that's got 50 million marbles. And then they make their 50 millionth and one. if 2% of that one is, would you notice the difference? Would you notice that they're missing? Of course not. You couldn't. And this is the beauty of this. The people that are going to be taxed are never going to miss the money. But of course, Fox is going to want to spin it where the guy that's working down at Burger King is going to go, oh, I'm not going to pay any more taxes. You're right, you're not gonna. It's only after you have a net value of over $50 million. So either look in your checkbook, and if you don't see a whole bunch of zeros, you ain't got $50 million. But guys, we'll keep having fun because I think we're up to 2A now, Kurt. So this is a little bit of a curveball, but this goes to show who benefits and how we can tax after the $50 millionth dollar. So Kurt, 2A, please.
So my plan here is to say, look, on the greatest fortunes in this country, those above $50 million, on the 50 millionth and first dollar, pitch in 2 cents.
Pitch in.
And if they would pitch in 2 cents, it would produce enough revenue to provide universal child care, universal pre-K, raise the wages of all of our child care and pre-K workers, and technical 2-year college and 4-year college for all of our kids at public institutions, and cancel student loan debt for about 95% of the kids who've got it.
Wait a minute. This sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, guys, we're going to prove it to you as the show progresses. But, you know, first, Elizabeth Warren went on The View. And I want to tell you, there is something so drastically different the way women think from when it comes to men. I mean, women and men are on different fields, different playing fields. And unfortunately, women have been getting the short end of the stick. But we're gonna change all that. But first, we're gonna show you her reaction on The View with the other women that do the Daily Show. So Kurt, number 3, please.
So my proposal, that 2-cent wealth tax pays for universal child care, and today I have just put up on my website, elizabethwarren.com, you can do /kids and put in how many kids you have or even how many you're planning to have, and you can see how much money you will save under this plan.
You can see how much money you're going to save under this plan. So guys, what did Uncle Rich do? We're going to put the plan, well, we're going to put the way to get to the plan. So anyway, so Kurt, number 4 is a still. Let's bring it up, and you'll see how with this still, go ahead, bring it up. So, all right, that's number 4. All right, play it.
This is a win-win-win. Parents will have the freedom and security to choose the work situation that's best for them. All kids will get access to high-quality care and early childhood development, and the economy will get stronger when millions of families aren't squeezed by child care costs. How would we pay for it? The ultra-millionaire tax. It's a tax on families with more than $50 million in wealth, and it's very popular because it's the right thing to do. This is a win-win-win.
All right, now, Kurt, let's try to go back to number 4. Number 4 is a still. So bring up the still because it'll show us how we can get onto the website so people can calculate how much money they can save with the plan. Number 4. What's that?
It still doesn't seem to be there.
It doesn't seem to be there. Okay. Kurt, we got to check these when we load the show up.
Yeah.
That's why we got to check them.
Well, we thought we had it.
Well, let's not think.
Hang on, maybe we'll find it.
Okay, good. There you go. Team spirit. All right, guys, we've been working hard, and I tell you, we got the new studio. Kurt's new as a director. We're trying our best, and sometimes, no matter how hard we try, we still don't get it right. Hey, but that's the whole idea down here. All right, well, if we can't find a still, let's go to number 6. so we can show how, with some facts, and this is important, how we can eliminate the student debt. So Kurt, number 6, please.
Cost of my universal college and debt cancellation plan can be covered entirely by my ultra millionaires wealth tax. That's a 2% tax on the richest 75,000 fortunes in this country, those with more than $50 million in assets.
75,000 families.
And we can do this.
Guys, who could possibly argue with that? You think these people are going to miss the money? They're not. You know, and we'll go further into it. And now, Kurt, wait a minute. Okay, so this is number 4 now. And guys, if you want to go to elizabethwarren.com, this is how you can calculate how much money you'll be able to say. And the funny thing is, leave that up for a second, because this brings us into this still. And Kurt, this is where you can go on the website. So between those two, you can go to Elizabeth Warren's website, and guys, the beauty of it is she spells everything out. And all right, Kurt, come back to me now. And guys, you know, when we were raising our kids, I got to be honest with you, we were about $100 away from my wife becoming a stay-at-home mom. I mean, it got to the point where like one of us was working almost for the daycare. And after a while, you know, you say to yourself, wait a minute, and I am sure that there are other people that are in a similar situation. And sometimes to find a daycare provider, a licensed daycare provider, because guys, you can't leave your kid with some schlep. You can't save a couple of bucks and put your kid in the hands of some place that's not fireproof, you know, all that stuff. You know, I mean, hey, these are your kids you're dealing with. And I tell you, there was times when we actually said, well, what do you think? You think it would make more sense, you know, for one of us to stay home? And guys, one night, I'm in the emergency room of the hospital with my little guy. And in comes my buddy's friend, and she's an emergency nurse. I didn't know it. I said, you know, she's raising 3 little boys. And I said, I didn't know you worked for a living. You know, I didn't know you worked at the hospital. She goes, Rich, this is the way we pay our insurance. This way we're covered completely. And she goes, that's the only reason why I'm working, but I have to do it. And her husband was in the trades, and he put in central air conditioning. And the one thing I could always remember him saying was, Rich, it's either feast or famine. And guys, when you're in the trades, you know that. That's why you need child care that you can depend on, where other people benefit, where you got people with degrees, you know, taking care of your kids that know what they're doing. But as we go on, we'll keep delving into it. But next is going to be my favorite subject, and that's on global warming. And I want to tell you, when it comes to global warming, it's all about, what is it about? The money. The money, the corruption, the fossil fuel industries, the Koch brothers, and people on the take. And this is what drives me nuts. So, Kurt, let's prove my point with clip number 9, please.
The fundamental question is, then why haven't we fixed it? As a country, why are we headed in the wrong direction?
Because people are making money.
It's corruption.
You got it.
This is not ignorance. This is not that people just don't get it. The people in Washington, they get it.
They get it.
But they are on the tape.
Bingo.
They are influenced by the money of the Koch brothers. Where do the Koch brothers get their money?
The Koch brothers. Where do the Koch brothers get their money? When you pay at the pump. That's right. When you put the gas in, guess what? the Koch brothers got a little piece of the pie, just a little, but enough to wet their whistle and make them two of the richest men in the world. And, you know, the fact that these guys are the people that really bought the government. You know, when the one Koch brother lost in 1980, when he got his butt kicked when he ran for president, he said, you know what? I don't need the humiliation. I'll just buy the Congress. I'll buy the presidency. All right. These guys will do whatever I tell them to do. I make sure they get enough money to run enough TV ads, newspaper, radio, brainwash the simple folk, and we'll get them elected, and guess what? Once we get them elected, they'll do the bidding for us. Simple. It's really simple. It's how you buy a country. And guys, with the next clip, Bill Maher is going to explain it a little bit further and a little bit better. That's why he's Bill Maher. So Kurt, number 10, please.
The single mother party now is the only one that cares about the kids' future. The Republicans, they're the party of the Koch brothers.
That's
Pollute
it.
all you want now, because tomorrow, not our problem. We'll be gone.
That's it. It's like they don't care. Why should we care about the future? We're here right now. We're only going to be here once. So you know what? Let's take advantage of the situation. Let's make as much money as we can. Why? I can't, guys, I can't understand it. But we're going to go, there are some millionaires who will admit they don't need the money. They're not going to be able to use the money. And you know what? These are what I call patriotic millionaires. Guys that are willing to give back. Guys that are willing to pitch in. No more taxes. He's going to pitch in. And guys, if that doesn't sound patriotic, and let's see if Uncle Joey or Kenny Johnson can say anything about that. But you know, guys, one of the problems with Kenny and Uncle Joey, it's not what they're for. You know, they'll be for this ultra millionaires tax, but it's not what they're for. It's what they're against. It's a millionaires tax put out by the Democrats. I hate it. Stop it. I want to have nothing to do. No. Guys, it's going to benefit everybody. But this is the way you brainwash the simple folk. Right, Kenny? I tried to get Kenny to come on, but he won't. He's too afraid. He's afraid if he goes on to a liberal show, he'll lose his conservative edge. Poor Kenny, he doesn't know if he's coming or going. He's a lost soul. But I tell you what, you ever want to have fun? Come on Facebook and you can text with him. And I want to tell you, when you see what kind of a Fruit Loop he is, you'll thank me, because he always gets everything ass backwards. But anyway, Kurt, I don't think we played clip number 11 yet. So let's see how a millionaire confesses. Go ahead, hit it.
The working class have lost sight of the fact, or just don't understand, that we wealthy are fully in charge. We own Congress. We own the White House.
You got it.
We wealthy people are running the country to our benefit.
Any questions? You don't buy the country so that it can be run against what you want.
Who was that guy?
It's really simple. I don't know, but we're going to play that clip again. So anyway, but the next clip we're going to play is how Kenny tends to get everything ass backwards. So Kurt, number 12, please.
There's one central revenue stream, but she's going to use that to pay for college and pay for universal pre-K and pay for all sorts of child care up to the age of 5. And she's going to just sock it to rich people one time.
So guys, Fox has to get on there and tell people that taxing people who have a wealth of over $50 million is bad. Why? Because the people that write their paychecks are the guys that they're defending. It's really simple. And it gets to the point, you know, when the only thing left to do is impeachment. And guys, you know, impeachment is not it's not a conclusion. Impeachment is a process. It's a fact-finding situation. And you know what? This last clip we're going to play on the short versions of the clip is Elizabeth Warren stating how she has no choice but to vote to start the impeachment process. So just listen to the logic, listen to the facts, and listen. And Uncle Joe, he said he read the report. Joe, don't lie to me. Because if you read the report, you would have found 10 situations for obstruction of justice. So don't lie to your buddy. Lie to your friends, but don't lie to me, okay? All right? Because that's why I call the show Who's Telling the Truth. So that I can embarrass you. But you don't care, Joe. You're a tribal member who will do anything to support the Republican Party. And why? I can't figure it out. I don't know why. I mean, it just, you know, why would you put a party before your family and your friends? Why would you do that? Why would you look down on the guy that works at McDonald's? Why would you look down at the person that works at Walmart? Why isn't Walmart? You know, why aren't they coming up and fessing up? What are they going to do with all their money? What could they possibly do? But guys, we're going to show you. And like I said, it's all about facts. And that's one thing you get with Warren. Facts and figures. So Kurt, let's prove my point with number 13.
And I believe that every person in the Senate and the House ought to have to vote and to say either, yeah, that's okay with me. Yeah, let a president just step in. Told the White House counsel to go fire Mueller, and then told the White House counsel to go lie about having told the White House counsel to go fire Mueller, and then told the White House counsel to write a letter saying that Donald Trump had not told him to go fire Mueller, and then to say, why on earth would you take notes about what I said to you? And the lawyers I deal with never put anything in writing.
And then, look, she's exhausted.
If there are people in the House or the Senate who want to say that's what a president can do when the president is being investigated for his own wrongdoings, or when a foreign government attacks our country, then they should have to take that vote and live with it for the rest of their lives.
And then, and then along came Jones. But guys, now we're going to have a plan where we're going to play the full clips for you. We gave you the teasers, so you've been pretty well briefed on what's coming up. We try to keep them in order so that if you're watching us on YouTube, if you like the little part of the clip, you know, you can more or less figure out, you know, how to fast forward it on YouTube. And I want to thank all the people that subscribe to me on YouTube. And I just want to thank everybody because it seems the word is getting out. Things are starting to happen. And I tell you, I got to thank Trump. And I got to thank Stephanopoulos for going into the lion's den with Trump, you know, to sit there and talk with him. And I want to tell you, he exposed him. And you know, how can you defend somebody that's not mentally stable? And I hate to say it, but the guy is so narcissistic. He doesn't think like a normal human being. He's a sick man. And guys, this first clip we're going to play, I got this off of YouTube. I've never seen this girl before, but I wanted, not YouTube, I got this from Yahoo. And I never saw her before, but I love the idea of the nice, quick, bada bing. You know what I mean? So Kurt, let's have clip number 20, please.
The Senate, they'd like to get my financial statement. At some point, I hope they get it.
You're going to turn it over?
No, at some point, I might. But at some point, I hope they get it because it's a fantastic financial statement.
What a
During the
liar.
2020 special President Trump 30 Hours, the president was discussing his refusal to release his tax records when he stopped the interview to chastise someone for coughing off camera.
What a
Let's do
liar,
that.
huh,
He's
guys?
coughing in the middle of my answer.
Yeah, okay.
I don't like that, you know?
When your chief of
This
staff.
guy
You gotta
coughs
cough,
and he
please,
almost gets
please.
executed.
Shot him, and I'll come over here.
You just can't.
Just to change the shot.
Okay.
Sorry.
According to ABC's George Stephanopoulos, the cough came from Trump's chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney. But it was President Trump's reaction to the cough that had people talking. On Twitter, some viewers defended the president's stance on coughing, even those who don't support his policies. Trump kicking someone out of the Oval for coughing is the only thing he has ever done that I completely agree with. But the majority of tweets teased the president for his reaction. Let's redo this presidency. I hear coughing. Once Mulvaney moved to the hall, or was given a Hall's cough drop, the president went back to discussing how he'd like people to see the records he refuses to share.
So at some point, I look forward to, frankly, I'd like to have people see my financial statement because it's phenomenal. No, it's not up to me. It's up to lawyers. It's up to everything else. But they're asking for things that they should never be asking for.
Mr. President, you got the ball, baby. It's really simple. All you have to do is say, release the taxes. But you don't have the Galaducci's to do that because what are you hiding? And that's the problem. What are you hiding? We're going to find out. It's going to take time, but we're going to find out. And I tell you, when you look at Trump's poll numbers, the way things have been going, he's going to want to hope we find out soon. Because I tell you, he's going down the toilet. He's down the drain. And the next clip is just going to prove, even more. So anyway, clip, I don't know why I keep doing. Kurt, number 21, please.
And that's the difference we need in our economy now. Not an economy that just works for the rich and the powerful, an economy that works for everyone.
An
Well, let's talk
economy
about
that
one of
works
those
for
ways that
everybody.
that you suggested government can
How
get involved,
novel.
paying for college.
Yes.
You have promised free public college, helping most student debt holders eliminate the debt. Now, we've looked at what some analysts are saying about this. They say, number one, it is giving bigger benefits to higher income families than families at the lower end of the spectrum, the families who need it the most, which they say raises questions about fairness and about whether it's wasting government money.
Right now, we have an economy in the 21st century that basically says you're going to need some post-high school training, whether it's technical school, 2-year college, or 4-year college, to get a chance to make it in America's middle class, to build some economic security. That's what you're going to need. Now, just remind yourself, a century ago, when that was true about high school, we made high school free for everybody because we said it's an investment America makes in our young people, an investment in our future. So my plan here is to say, look, on the greatest fortunes in this country, those above $50 million, on the 50 millionth and first dollar, pitch in 2 cents. And if they would pitch in 2 cents, it would produce enough revenue to provide universal child care, universal pre-K, raise the wages of all of our child care and pre-K workers, and technical 2-year college and 4-year college for all of our kids at public institutions, and cancel student loan debt for about 95% of the kids who've got it.
But
this is
what
about
about the argument that it's helping the families who need it the least?
No, but it's not. The families who need it the least are the 0.1% who have the biggest fortunes in America. If they would pay just 2 cents, we could make this investment not in some of our kids, but in all of our kids. And understand this about what's fair here. Those richest 0.1%, those biggest fortunes in America, about 75,000 people or families, all in last year, they paid about 3.2% of their total wealth in taxes, all in. The 99% paid about 7.2%. They're already paying more. I just want to see a little more level playing field where we make an investment in our kids going
I
forward.
want to come back.
So guys, you saw the numbers, right? You heard the numbers. She said the upper class pays about 3.6% of their wealth to taxes, whereas the 99% pay 7.2%. So you talk about who's getting squeezed and why? Because the people that make all the money can hire the lawyers and buy the politicians to lower their tax rates. It's really simple. But guys, see how she kept going back to just 2 cents? Just 2 cents? And guys, pitch in. And now we're going to play the second part of that clip. So Kurt, number 22, please.
I just want to see a little more level playing field where we make an investment in our kids going forward.
I want to come back to the tax on the ultra wealthy because we've looked at that as well. Analysts have said this is a plan that sounds good, but it could be a disincentive to invest in what they call important transformative projects that could transform society. Number two, that it would create massive and expensive investigations by the IRS. And number three, it may not be constitutional.
Oh, please. I mean, the idea that someone who has already amassed a huge fortune in this country is going to disinvest over 2 cents. I mean, that just doesn't even make any sense. This proposal says, look, it's not punitive. It says if you built one of the great fortunes in America, this is the 0.1%, more than $50 million. That 50 millionth and first dollar, you got to pitch in 2 cents, and for every dollar above that. And it says, in effect, if you built a great fortune, good for you, or inherited it, good for you. But understand, that great fortune was built in part using employees all of us help pay to educate. In part, getting your goods and services to market on roads and bridges all of us help pay for. Right now, those biggest fortunes, they're putting in less than the rest of America. Let's just level that playing field a little bit.
So the great fortune that these people have, we helped build it all. We built the roads. We built the infrastructure. We built all this stuff, and certain people benefited more than others. Well, guys, this nonsense has got to stop. You know, I mean, it gets to the point where you just got to stop. And who could stop it? Mothers, women. And I tell you, the next clip is going to be Elizabeth Warren on with Goldie, what's her name? Goldie. Anyway, you'll see right away as soon as you see her. And she was funny in that one movie, but I can't remember her name. But anyway, clip, I did it again. Kurt, clip 23.
Have something you want to tell us?
Who is that?
I do. So we were talking about childcare earlier when we were talking about all the changes to make. And this one is really personal for me. You know, I got my first full-time teaching job in college. I've got 2 little ones underfoot. God, it was hard. And, you know, I was like, you know, getting dinner on the table at 8:30, doing baths at 9 o'clock, laundry at 11, preparing for the next day's classes after midnight. I could do hard. But the thing that nearly killed me was childcare. I just went through one after another after another. The prices were crazy. Everything was horrible trying to get it. So one night in the spring of my first year, my Aunt B calls me. And she says, "How you doing, sweetie?"
Aunt B.
And I started fine. And then I started to cry.
Right.
And I said, "I can't do this. I'm going to quit." And it just fell out of my mouth. I mean, I just couldn't do it. I was just failing. And she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, I can't do this. I can't keep up with the kids." And Aunt B listens to this. She's a widow, and she waits for me to quit crying, and she says, "Okay, baby." She said, "I can't get there tomorrow, but I'll come on Thursday." She arrived with 7 suitcases and a Pekingese named Buddy and stayed for 16 years.
16 years.
16 years.
So
and
nice.
that's how I made it through.
Yeah.
But
not everybody has an Aunt B.
Not every,
no.
And if all of America had an Aunt B, we'd be in a different place.
Yeah.
But childcare has gotten even harder, and it holds women principally, although some men, back in getting an education and taking a job and getting into the workforce and taking a more demanding job. So my proposal, that 2-cent wealth tax pays for universal child care. And today, I have just put up on my website, elizabethwarren.com, you can do /kids and put in how many kids you have or even how many you're planning to have. And you can see how much money you will save under this plan. Because here's the thing. We do universal child care, high quality child care. So the top child care, the universal pre-K, is not just there for the richest slice at the top, but it's there for all of our kids. It's a good investment in mamas and daddies.
Yep.
It's a good investment in our children. It's the best investment in our future.
And it's still that same 2 cents is paying for
Same
it?
2 cents.
Same 2
All
cents.
paid for. All paid for. We should do
2
this.
cents. All right, so put your 2 cents in, right? Hey guys, it's really kind of simple. But you know, doesn't everybody have an Aunt B? Didn't we all have an Aunt B growing up? From Opie and Mayberry? Didn't Mayberry have Aunt B? So isn't Aunt B now going to be more or less the government, where you make sure that people are being taken care of? Not that you're taking care of, that you're making the funds and the availability for the people to get the education and to build the places where they can perform daycare. And guys, the next clip is going to show us a little bit more about child care and Aunt B. So Kurt, 25, please.
I had babies and was juggling law school and then my first teaching job. Finding high-quality childcare was really tough. I got lucky. My Aunt B moved in and took care of my kids, and I'm grateful to this day.
Aunt B.
But not everybody has an Aunt B who can step in and help take care of the kids. Today, millions of parents are squeezed by childcare costs. Rising costs hold back parents, and they hold back a generation of our kids from the strong foundation they need to succeed in life. That's why I'm proposing a big structural change. Universal, high-quality child care and early education for our littlest ones, available to every parent who wants it. Like the successful Head Start program, my plan would have the federal government work with local partners to make sure there are high-quality child care and early education providers available across America. Local communities would run the centers, and they'd be held to high national standards. Child care and preschool workers would be paid salary and benefits on par with local public school teachers with the same degrees. How much you make at your job should not determine the quality of care your child gets. That's why for millions of families who need it, access to these child care options will be free. And no family, no matter how much they make, will have to pay more than 7% of their income to take advantage of one of these
7% of your
high-quality childcare
income.
options. Period. Look,
That's a
this
plan.
is a win-win-win. Parents will have the freedom and security to choose the work situation that's best for them. All kids will get access to high-quality care and early childhood development, and the economy will get stronger when millions of families aren't squeezed by child care costs. How would we pay for it? The ultra-millionaire tax. It's a tax on families with more than $50 million in wealth, and it's very popular because it's the right thing to do. And get this, it would cover the cost of universal child care and preschool 4 times over.
Wow.
The rest of the revenue from this tax will cover the cost of a bunch of other big structural changes too.
Atta girl.
This is what government for the people looks like. If you're all in, join us.
Hey, I tell you, the more I see, the more I like. And that's why we call this show, I Have a Plan. She's got plans, and it's simple. And how can you argue with them? You can't. Although the Republicans will. Why? Because they have to. And I'll tell you, we're going to have some more fun with some of the other clips that we're going to do. But next, we're going to show you her plans to eliminate student debt. And you're going to say, Wait a minute. But guys, hey, we'll let the video do the talking. So Kurt, number 26, please.
My dream was to be a public school teacher.
A public
but
school
that meant
teacher.
College. And I got my chance at the University of Houston that cost $50 a semester. For a price that I could pay for on a part-time waitressing job, I got the chance to be a special needs teacher, to be a college professor, a United States Senator, and now a candidate for President of the United States. Today, it's virtually impossible for a young person to find a high-quality education at an affordable price. We're crushing an entire generation with student loan debt, and the consequences are everywhere. Young people can't buy homes. They can't start businesses. No country builds a future by crushing the dreams and hopes of its young people.
That's simple.
That's why I'm calling for universal free college and the cancellation of student loan debt of up to $50,000 for 42 million Americans. My plan will wipe out student loan debt entirely for about 75% of those with debt.
I like
that
plan.
It will help close the racial wealth gap, and it will provide an enormous economic boost to America's
I like those
middle
plans
class.
too.
The cost of my universal college and debt cancellation plan can be covered entirely by my ultra millionaires wealth tax. That's a 2% tax on the richest 75,000 fortunes in this country, those with more than $50 million in assets. Just 2%, and we can do this. This is the kind of big structural change that expands opportunity to everyone. So if you think college should be accessible to all, then join us.
Man, I tell you, it ain't easy to argue with her. She puts the cards on the table, and I tell you, the next clip, guys, is going to be my favorite because it's on global warming. And I want to tell you, she takes no prisoners. So, Kurt, number 29, please.
This is the existential threat. Climate is the one. There is no planet
No
B,
planet B.
For us to go to. I get this. Here's how I address the problem, though. The reason that the United States is where it is on climate, we are a world leader. We're just leading in the wrong direction. And we have given enormous cover to other countries that don't want to take the hard steps to help clean up the planet. So what we've done by pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord is horrible. What we're doing at the EPA, what's happening over at the Department of the Interior, it's terrible. Every part of this is terrible. And a threat not just to our country, but a threat to the entire world. By the way, I raised this in armed services. I sit in the Senate Armed Services. And one of the questions I keep asking repeatedly when I have the generals in front of me is, what about the climate threat? And the generals, to their credit, will step up and say yes. That climate is a threat to our security. It's a threat to our security in every sense, from the fact that we have military bases that are now underwater.
Bingo.
Much of the time, that we're getting repeat flooding, to the fact that the fight for water in parts of Africa already are putting people on the move, and it's going to cause worldwide chaos. So I get this. The fundamental question is, then why haven't we fixed it? As a country, why are we headed in the wrong direction? It's corruption. This is not ignorance. This is not that people just don't get it. The people in Washington, oh, they get it.
They get it,
but
all
they
right.
are on the tape. They
get
are
plenty of it.
influenced by the money of the Koch brothers. Where did the Koch brothers get their money? It's carbon-based.
Carbon-based,
think about it this
fossil
way. You go back and
fuels.
look 15 years ago, Democrats and Republicans were actually starting to come together on climate issues, right? The Koch brothers and other financial interests moved in. And it's so much more than campaign contributions. It is campaign contributions, but it is so much more. It is the lobbyists. It is the lawyers. It is the think tanks. It is the bought and paid for experts that create this, maybe there's a problem, maybe there's not. that create this illusion of it's an open question, the illusion so that there is deniability for politicians that year after year after year refuse to address this problem and who treat it as if, it's just an open, what were they all saying? I'm not a scientist? Yeah, that is not the issue. So that's why I say the key that we've got to put in to unlock fixing the problems we need to fix starts with we have got to push back on the influence of money in Washington. So long as the Koch brothers and their ilk are calling the shots in Washington, whether we have a Democrat or a Republican in the White House, they are going to continue to make sure that this country is not doing all that it needs to do to address the climate crisis. We knock them back, then we've got at least a chance to be able to address the problem that is bearing down on us and our children and our grandchildren. So I'm there, but I think that's it.
Guys, I tell you, it's all about, if you're not familiar with the Koch brothers, they're evil human beings. And why, I just can't understand it. It's beyond me. It's beyond me when people are that rich and they want more, and they want to take it from where? From us. Why? Because they can. I just don't get it. But the next clip, Bill Maher gets it, and he's not going to take any prisoners. So, Kurt, let's prove my point with number 30, please.
And finally, new rule, let's use Father's Day to ask Republicans how the daddy party went from these guys to this guy.
I'm going to throw up. That's sick. That is sick.
As for those of us just trying to survive in this American family, we have to come to terms with the reality that the daddy party is the asshole dad party now. And the patriarch of it all is a hot mess. And you know what happens when daddy's a useless piece of crap, right? Mom has to take over. And that's why Democrats, they're no longer the mommy party. They're the single mother party.
Single mother party. That's it. What percentage
They're the party that
of
has to
mothers are
work
single?
2 jobs. Because daddy went out for cigarettes and never came back. The single mother party now is the only one that cares about the kid's future. The Republicans, they're the party of the Koch brothers. Pollute all you want now, because tomorrow, not our problem. We'll be gone. When Trump was in England last week, he was amazed at Prince Charles's concern for the planet and its longevity.
He is really into climate change. And what he really feels warmly about is the future.
Imagine that.
What a weirdo, huh? Caring about the future? Boy, Bill Barr was recently asked about his legacy. Does not care. He said, I'm at the end of my career, everyone dies. Rudy Giuliani said the same thing. I don't care about my legacy, I'll be dead. Which is shocking. I thought he was dead. So, happy Father's Day. But keep in mind, if Republicans made a commercial for life insurance, it would go like this. You love your family. What if you weren't there to take care of them? Oh, well, shit happens.
And guys, wouldn't that be appropriate? Shit happens. Well, we're sorry, hey, who cares? But there are some patriots, and the next clip, this guy, he's going to say, hey, look, he's going to explain it to you. He's not a bitter millionaire, and he wants to contribute, and he's willing to pitch in. Boy, do I like the sound of that. All right, so Kurt, number 31, please.
The working class have lost sight of the fact, or just don't understand, that we wealthy are fully in charge. We own Congress. We own the White House. We wealthy people are running the country to our benefit. And to not understand that is just putting your head in the sand. That's what I'm afraid has happened. Hi, my name is Stephen Prince, and I'm a patriotic millionaire. Hello. I have guests.
Guys, he makes the kind of cards you buy at Target.
I would write it to the U.S. government if it was all the problem.
You know,
My children
$30
will all
card,
become
$50
millionaires
card.
when I die, then they would lose all of that. I think that's too bad. We had this peace commission. We go to Saratoga to the horse races every year. Love Saratoga.
So
there's not a
went to
brush stroke on that
Saratoga.
artwork. So the whole thing is painted by dribbling paint on the piece and then moving it around like this so the paint runs, and he paints the Statue of Liberty. And as I've told you before, I'm kind of an American fanatic. I love this country at a very, very deep level. And the Statue of Liberty to me is a great representation of what this country is all about and should be all about. This is scary. Anybody that reads this and doesn't understand, this is precisely what bothers me with my country, because my class,
money.
we wealthy people are the ones that are not only contributing to this, but supporting this mindset, and all for our own short-term, our own life's gain. I mean, we're all going to die. So why would we want to do those kinds of things to our fellow man just so we can achieve more power or more money or more houses? Why would we want to do that when we're still going to die? I just think the goodness should win out. I'm not naive enough to think that it always will, but it should win out. Where was it? Oh, yeah, there it is.
Goodness should win out. Not with Trump.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, the fact, if I were ever going to write a book, I would like to write it myself. I just don't, and he's never written any of these things himself. He's always had ghostwriters that have written everything for him. His books, I think, are kind of a joke. The guy doesn't read. He has no desire to know detail. He's just not a deep dive guy. He's an emotional, seat of the pants decision maker, and that is not the way you run a country. I also don't think it's the way you write a book either, but that's neither here nor there.
And guys, you know, the one thing you're going to worry about, and you have to wonder about it, is how does Trump get away with all this nonsense? How can he say something really stupid and get away with it? Guys, it's simple. You go on Fox, and the next clip is going to be with Fox, and they're going to try to explain Elizabeth Warren's idea about taking care of the working class. So Kurt, number 32, please.
You know, Kennedy, the Democrats could have solved immigration in a lunch hour, but couldn't. But I guess climate change is easier.
Well, it's easier because all you have to do is take a bunch of money from people,
right,
and then appropriate. It's just another redistribution scheme. But the interesting thing about Elizabeth Warren is she only has one way of taking money from rich people. There's only one mechanism for doing that.
Yes.
Yet it's almost like a badly run Ponzi scheme, because she's taking that money from the rich people, but she's promising it to about 5 different programs,
right,
with no new revenue stream. So there's one central revenue stream, but she's going to use that to pay for college and pay for universal pre-K and pay for all sorts of child care up to the age of 5. And she's going to just sock it to rich people one time, and also have a $5 trillion climate change plan that picks winners and losers that will magically somehow not be corrupt at all with a brand new bureaucracy.
You know what I think, though? To me, it's incredible, but you said it right. Republicans just don't register on this. They don't seem to want to acknowledge that there's any problem. So
but they should.
Well, what about Matt Gaetz? I mean, Matt Gaetz has a similar plan to AOC's that
here's
just requires
the thing. When you look at the numbers, not
feebly.
Matt Gaetz, but anybody. Here, I looked at the numbers. It said like 77% of Democrats are strongly concerned about climate change. But 52% of Republicans are skeptical that there's a problem.
That's about right for America.
But here's the thing. Guess what? The top priority for Democratic voters, health care. Number 2, far behind, but still number 2.
The economy?
No, climate change. Guess what? And especially...
So you're saying Democrats are deluded?
Guess what? No, younger younger Democrats, the millennials, think it's the #1 issue.
That is true.
That's number one.
Okay,
That's because they're the least knowledgeable on other issues.
No, I don't think so. I
I
think these are people who think this is going to impact me in my lifetime, and I don't like it. So you get Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren.
Stop being all doomsday about it.
I got to get Dana into this.
Jay Inslee's #1 issue, Beto O'Rourke, even John Delaney.
You know, Dana, the problem is the rhetoric becomes white noise, right?
Okay.
Precisely right. And people like Uncle Joey and Kenny Johnson, they can't filter it out. They just can't do it. But there's one person that can, and I tell you, the last clip we're going to play is with Elizabeth with the idea of impeachment. And guys, unfortunately, we don't have a choice anymore. Trump has driven us to the point we're going to have to impeach him. And hopefully, the Senate will say, hey, wait a minute. We just can't deal with this guy. And don't forget, 22 senators are up for re-election next year. So guys, after the demonstration that we had in the last election when we picked up 40 seats in the House, what can we do in the Senate to get rid of Mitch McConnell? And what can we do to get rid of that orange joke that sits in the White House that can't tell the truth? So anyway, we'll let her explain why we have, the only course we have is the impeachment course. So Kurt, number 33, please.
And I'm on an airplane coming back and the Mueller report drops. And so I start reading it on the airplane. I read it on through the evening. I read it into the wee hours of the morning. And when I get to the end, 3 things just jump off the page. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, an independent, a libertarian, a vegetarian. 3 things just totally jump off the page. The first is that a hostile foreign government attacked our 2016 election in order to help Donald Trump.
And you can't
the
deny
evidence
it.
is just there. Read it, footnote after footnote, page
Read
after
it,
page
Joey.
documentation. Part 2, Donald Trump welcomed that help. So on the first one about what they did, understand, this was a sophisticated attack. They attacked part of the voting system. That's going to be an ongoing federal investigation. They hacked into more than 50 computers at the DNC, the DCCC, a very serious attack. And Donald Trump welcoming it, in the Mueller report, just read it.
Guys, I want to thank
he gets
Kurt.
Off the phone from an unnamed
I want to
caller
thank
and
John
looks
who
up and
came
says to the
down
other person in the
to
phone,
help us out
there are
from
more leaks
Cooperstown.
coming.
Martino's
The
Pizza, we
idea
haven't heard
that
from
he was
him.
welcoming
Marco,
what was
where
happening
are you?
from the Russian government, and by the summer of 2016,
And guys, you know,
the
hopefully,
report documents
tonight we learned
that
something.
by that point, the Trump campaign actually had a worked out formal process for dealing with the leaks